Good afternoon, dear interested wine lovers. Today I want to start with a couple of wines. They're all from one certain type. They are called sparkling wines. So they come from a family where it is not about the other type of wine, which is called still wine, but here we talk about wine with bubbles. And there are different ways how to produce such a wine. And the one or the other from you might ask the question, why is it necessary at all? There's a very simple reason for it, because it's a party wine type. It's something that you would like to drink when you are partying, whatever it is, celebration, wedding, whatsoever, together with your family or with other beloved ones. And it's simply fun to drink wine with bubbles. Let's say everything with bubbles is creating a little bit more fun, and you know that from non-alcoholic drinks already. What did I choose? I have chosen 4 different wines today. They are all available here in beautiful Tashkent. And by the way, I'm sitting here in Tashkent city in a very nice apartment. You see the nice view behind me. This is nothing artificial. This is really the truth. That's how it looks like here. And the first wine is a sparkling wine coming from this country here. It comes from one of the largest producers here called Baghi-Zagan. Baghi-Zagan, it's called Salute, and it has even a production year on it, as you can see on the label here. That's from the year 2020. And it comes in as a brut version, which means it's dry. Not absolutely dry, but it is quite dry. Baghi-Zagan is one of the older producers here. They are located in the region of Samarkand, which is much more famous, of course, for the famous mosque area and the school over there. But it is also since long time already producing wines there. This one is made of the grape variety Riesling. Riesling is a German grape variety, well known for its high acidity, and it is a grape variety which is excellent for the production of sparkling wines. I come to the way how it was produced later on, but let's have a sip now. Yeah, you see, I'm always checking for certain reasons also the color. It is a pale yellow color, and when I have a look into and smell, then I get really very nice aromas. It's very much dominated by bruised apple. It's a little bit of pear. It's not very complicated, but it's fruit driven, and yeah, it smells really very appealing. And that's what it is also in the mouth. It is really refreshing. It's vibrant. It's quite fresh. If I would complain about anything, it's losing quite fast the bubbles. I opened it 5 minutes ago. It's already starting to lose the bubble. That has probably to do with the way it was produced. There is nothing mentioned on the label here, but I guess it was done by the Charmat method, so not the classical bottle fermentation. But anyway, this is really fun. Something that fits also to light dishes such as a salad or something with chicken, or even Samarkand plov style would make fun together with this wine. It's light. It is fairly dry, but not too dry. So you can also drink it easily on its own, and that's something in case you have guests at home to probably welcome them with a few light dishes, or even to enjoy it on its own. So this is really well done. It's actually the cheapest wine of this day, because it's produced here locally. That was around 90,000 som in a shop. For everybody outside of Uzbekistan, we talk about 5-6 euros or $7-8 US. That's the retail price here, and there is no doubt this is really worth the money. So very well done, Baghi-Zagan. I really like it. Cheers. But this probably will even make fun if the bubbles are out, because the basic wine is really good.
It's a Riesling.
Riesling, yes.
And they make wine without bubbles.
Yes,
from the
normally
same
most
grape.
of it is produced as a still wine, and they make
Yeah.
for sure still wine as well out of it. So that's probably the second quality, the second best quality they are choosing for the sparkling wine.
It almost smells like a normal Riesling, what I would call a Riesling.
It has something of a typical Riesling inside. It's really well made, and yeah, probably one of the best sparklings, at least at this price level. There's nothing much to complain.
And if I'm not mistaken, salute is a Russian word. It means fireworks, right? And,
Yeah.
and on the bottle we also
I think it's a French word, even salute. I think it's a French word. This is more or less salute to the world. That's the firework here. That's what it is. That's what it is. And the problem is that 2020 it's probably already too old, because this should be consumed quite fast, because it loses the bubbles.
This is not the
loses
type
the
of
bubbles.
wine that you age.
This is
the wine
exactly
you drink
not
straight
the type of wine that you age. You buy it, and 2020 should drink now 2023, in fact. But the shop where I bought it, they have still 2020, so maybe they don't sell it that good. But it would be worth to drink a young version of it.
I think it's also because there's a misconception with wine, especially when you're just learning.
Yeah.
They say you should always go for a wine that's 3 years old at least.
Yeah, this is really, really wrong for almost 90% of all the wines being produced, because most of them are produced for a more or less immediate consumption, or for consumption within the next 1-2 years. And just a very limited percentage of wine is really produced for long-term aging, for 10 years or even longer. Some of them can age decades even, but this is really a very rare part of the overall production. So most of the wines are produced for early consumption, and this is not any different with this one here.
Maybe you can help me understand something. I remember hearing somewhere that you shouldn't really be drinking wines that are champagnes that are over 10 years old. And there was something about vintage champagne, which once it passes a certain age, it's not supposed to be so palatable. Is that the case?
That's actually true, but it depends very much on the production method, as I introduced already, because wines made of this method here, like the Charmat method, which means it is not done in the classic way like real champagne is being produced. So it's not the second fermentation, which is necessary to create the bubbles inside. It's not done in the bottle itself, but it's done in a big tank, which is then closed, and then they fill it with something sugar and then yeast, and the second fermentation takes place in there, and that creates the bubbles. The difference is the bubbles are about to leave a glass quite soon. They don't stay for longer because they are very small, and this is because the wine is not produced for a long term to stay in the bottle. Champagne is done in a very different way, and champagne can be produced in a very complex ways. So for champagne, we would need probably 10 videos to show everything that is on the market, all the kinds of types that are there. But at least champagne in principle is always made for longer aging. Even the basic products are made to last at least 5 years. If it's then a vintage champagne, as you mentioned, it is supposed to last even longer, and there are champagnes that can age for decades as well. So this is really a big question of how much efforts were put into the production, not only of the grapes in this respect, but when it's about champagne and the sparkling wine of this method, we really talk about everything that's being done in the cellar then afterwards. Because when we talk about champagne, we also talk about putting in reserve wines from other vintages, and so on and so on and so on. So all these things are possible, and the purpose is always to increase complexity and longevity And a vintage wine is supposed to be just from 1 year, of course, but it's being produced normally only in a year where the grape quality is of exceptionally high quality. So then you can produce something outstanding of champagne in the vintage year as well.
Okay, so in a nutshell, then, for a layperson, if it is for fast consumption, not aged, they will not carbonate it, but the second fermentation process is in the tank.
Yes.
But if it's for longevity, they
Right.
will do it in the bottle.
Right. And that's also the reason, by the way, why it is much cheaper in this respect, because this is of course more a mass production. But imagine if you do a second fermentation in a bottle, you have to do more or less the same thing, but you do it bottle by bottle. You have to open the bottle, you have to fill in what you want, you have to fill it with reserve wine because something is going out after the first fermentation. You close it again, and then you have to store it. So that means it takes much longer time, and it's much more manual work in there. That's why a champagne will always be much more expensive. And of course, every sparkling wine that is being manufactured in the traditional or champagne method, as it is called. So there's a big reason for that, and there's also a quality reason. But we come later on to this because we will have a wine done by the classic bottle fermentation methods. Cheers.
Salud.
Yeah, by the way, you are probably watching me how I open a bottle. This is the recommended way to be on the safe side, because you should never forget the bubbles inside here. They create a certain pressure towards the cork here. And this is something that you get to know if you do this here. What you see, I don't know if somebody is celebrating his victory after a Grand Prix or something like this, but it's not recommended to do it at home because there's a lot of pressure. It can be up to 6 bars. This is double of the pressure you have in your car tires.
Wow.
And that can really, really hurt. The recommended way is to always control the cork here, keep the cork and turn the bottle, and not the other way around. And then you should open it really slowly. It should make no noise. Yeah, this was quite well done. All right, we have another bottle here. And this actually comes from Cream Island. This is also the name of the producer here. It's called Villa Cream. So Cream Island is very famous for many decades, even centuries already, for its sparkling wines. This is actually a newer producer, and this is done also the same way than the wine before, so made of the Charmat method. But it's very different because it contains a quite big number of grape varieties in there.
So it's blended.
So, yes, it's a blend. It's a blend. There is the Katsitelli. This is a Georgian grape variety. Kuldinsky. This is a local grape from Russia. It contains Riesling as well. It contains Pinot Noir. Yes,
French.
and that's it. So this is a blend of 4 different grape varieties, and yes, it's here on the label. It says even it's made of the Charmat method, and yes, it doesn't contain any vintage here. So I suppose it's a classical no vintage wine, as we say. So NV, but it's not mentioned on any label. So that means at the very end, the producer behind could mix a couple of different vintages into this wine as well.
Okay, I've not heard of this particular company before. You've tried that wine before?
Not yet. No, it's new to me as well. I discovered it in a very nice wine shop that probably we will introduce later on. We have quite a number of sparkling wines, which I find so far quite rarely in Tashkent city because it's obviously not so popular. Yeah, let's try. Color, by the way, yeah. I think we have something that is happening because we do this here right now, but this one is obviously having a fault. This is faulty.
I can almost smell like it's been corked.
Immediately, exactly. You are absolutely right.
You can smell
if
it.
you have a look at the cork here, You see
Yeah.
that it is wet up to here. The cork is a pressed cork, so that's an industrial cork made of cork splinters and pressed afterwards, and there's nothing in between. That means this is also supposed to be consumed very early. And if you see the cork compared to the wine we had before, you see the cork quality here is a lot better than this cork.
Would you assume that bottle has been stood on its side? Why would the cork
This
be wet?
was up. This was standing in upright position, and that's of course something that can have an influence, but not too much here. In my opinion, here it's simply the cork quality that made it. This is something that if you open a bottle like this,
It almost looks green, by the way.
yeah, it has changed the color slightly. I guess it was before already of the same color than before, so more pale yellow. And now it's a little bit golden, so it's a little bit darker. That comes from the oxidation. So there's obviously oxygen that came into the bottle. The cork damaged it. So there's some certain chemicals inside the cork. They are natural, but they are affecting the taste in the wine. And this one, yeah, sorry for Villa Cream, but it is something that we cannot really taste now.
It's completely flat.
Something, yeah, we will not like it. Nobody would like it. So if you have this and it is smelling already a little bit like burnt plastic, things like this, so artificial. You have no fruit flavors in there. If you taste something like this is obviously a fault. This is not supposed to be drunken. This is a damaged bottle, and for sure it was not the intention of the producer to do it like this. But yeah, it's a wine that we can forget for this evening, unfortunately.
And because of the way it's covered with the foil and everything, there's absolutely no way of finding out until after you bought it.
No, you cannot see it. I have to say that the cheaper, low quality wines in the sparkling production are all most of them are covered then with a cork, with a pressed cork like this one, so an industrial one. Sometimes even cheaper closures are chosen like plastic corks. Then it's really not recommended to store them at all. Then it's something that you should, yeah, more or less open the same weekend that you buy it and drink it immediately.
How much was this one?
This was slightly more expensive than the other one, but we have to take into consideration that this was imported. It comes from Cayman Islands, so that means definitely there are some taxes on top. So it might be that the wine origin is sold at a cheaper level than the Paguesagan, but yeah, it's obviously also in this case a wine that we cannot really compare. Pity, but we have two more left.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you take that one back and show them the cork and get another one, maybe next time we'll review it again.
Right.
Because it shouldn't be like that.
Do that. I will definitely take the opportunity and bring it back. But here you see that this is the hint for a producer. If you really save money here with the cork quality, this is a result that you can almost expect. Unfortunately, not too noisy. This was okay. You see, cork quality is better, and this one is okay. What are we opening now? This is a wine that comes from the region Krasnodar. Krasnodar is in the very south of Russia, in the region of the Black Sea and the Azov Sea, and that's a quite warm region, and it's coming from the company Fanagoria, which is based in the city called the same name. It's also a very traditional place to produce wines, and they do it for quite a long time. Fanagoria is actually one of the largest producer, if not the largest producer in our Russia. They own around 4,000 hectares, which is really a lot. And this allows them to create and to produce a quite big number of different wines, also sparkling wines, on all different quality levels. This is also more an entry-level wine. This was also produced in the Charmat method that I already explained.
Charmat was the first method, the
Charmat
fast
was
method.
the first method, the one which means it was done in a big tank. Here we have also a wine that is supposed to be from 1 year. This one is a little bit younger. It comes from 2022. You see here on the label, we have this method Charmat even mentioned here. It's also brut, like all the others so far. And it's done by also a number of grape varieties. I can read the Russian language here. It's made of Riesling as well. It's made of Pinot Noir, Pinot Blanc. It's made of Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay, as well as some Traminer. Very interesting. And yes, quite a number of grapes here. This is something that is not unusual in the production of sparkling wines, because this is a typical type of sparkling wine that should make fun. And we see now a little bit. We also see here, if I see here on top of on the bottom of the glass, it's not too much going on. So also this wine is already at its peak to consume it.
Well, you did say 2 years.
But this is, of course, this is not faulty. This is fine. It's a little bit darker in color than the other ones so far. So it's more deeper in color, but it's still not gold. It's still pale yellow, and yeah.
But after the green one, it does look a lot more appetizing.
Absolutely, and it has quite a nice mix of aromas in there. So you can identify here definitely apple again. There is pear. There's a little bit of peach in there, so it's very much on the fruity side. It's not very much appealing anymore. It's obviously already at its peak, so already developing in its second age. So there are already other influences in there. So it's not super complex, but it's still fun. And yeah, something that you can definitely enjoy. Also as a party wine, this is price-wise also more or less in the same range. That's slightly more expensive than the first one we talked here about. It was 110,000 som, I guess. So we talk about in other countries
it's like
about
$9.
Yes, something like this. So we are not really on the high side with this. This is still a fairly nice price, and for sure in the range and price quality level here is good in my opinion.
Did you say this one had the Riesling grape?
Okay. That's good.
You cannot smell it, so obviously it's the first one.
Because here the first one was 100% Riesling. Here we have a cuvee. Here we have a couple of grape varieties in there. So normally, if we talk about the grape varieties here, we have Traminer in there. This is one of the very ancient grape varieties. It's a very aromatic grape variety that, if it would be done, 100% of this grape variety would be extremely aromatic. So it would be mouth-filling, but it's just a part of the cuvee, therefore it's not really dominating.
And brut means brut is supposed to mean dry, right?
Brut is supposed to mean dry.
Is that
not
sweet for you?
Bone dry. I can taste a little bit of residual sugar in there.
Me too.
So the sugar inside, by the way, a sparkling wine, you see very often this brut. Brut does not mean that it is absolutely dry. That means there can be a little bit of residual sugar that's in a range of normally between 5 and 10 grams of sugar per liter wine. And this is done to make it better accessible. And this is meeting more or less the taste of, I would say, 90% of all normal wine drinkers. It's nothing extremely special, but it's not sweet. It is still on the drier side. It's not semi-dry. It's not semi-sweet. It's not sweet. So therefore, this is also something that fits to a couple of light dishes as well. But I have to say just light dishes, so I would not have this with anything heavy.
So you wouldn't call this medium dry. You would call this.
No, this is still dry. It is still dry, but it has residual sugar in there. And of course, we should not forget about that in sparkling wine. There is also very commonly what is called a dosage edit. And dosage means also something sweet, which means either it's grape juice or something else is added to the wine to have a little bit sweetness in there to make it more accessible and yeah,
more palatable
more
for the
food
masses.
friendly, because for many people this means it is more food friendly, and there is nothing wrong with this. Actually, this is just a matter of taste. So there are some people who like it even sweet. There are people who like it exactly as we have it here. And I can say roughly 70% of all the sparkling wines are made in a brut version.
I tell you when I really like dry wine is with strong cheeses.
Yeah,
I think it's amazing.
this would definitely you can enjoy this more with not too strong cheeses for sure. For sure, I would say hard cheeses of cow milk, made of cow milk, would be okay of this if they are not aged for too long. So it should be a young cow cheese, classic Emmental cheese, for instance. Yeah, as it comes from Switzerland. I don't know the Uzbek cheese varieties. There are for sure some which would perfectly fit to this one. But we will for sure do a video in this respect of food pairing, or even more
Sure.
at a later stage. But this one is definitely food friendly. There's no doubt, but just for lighter dishes. I would not have it with Blanc here because for me it's a little bit too much residual sugar. But this is also a matter of taste. So it's not something that I say this is a no-go. It's all a matter of taste. All right.
I finished it. That was the best one so far, but because of my personal taste,
Yeah.
it was a little bit on the sweet side.
Yeah, my favorite is still the first one. I have to say, but this is not bad. This is number 2 for me. Okay, this one is out of competition.
I think it was, for me, the bubbles. I think this is what I'm expecting from a sparkling wine.
Yeah, yeah. This is not. This is. But it has this advantage. This is 2022, right? This is most probably because of the age.
Why do you think you like that one more? Because you can taste the Riesling in it.
Yes. On another level, it is also being produced in the classic method. So this is not the Charmat method as we had it before. This is done in the traditional way as they do it in Champagne. That's why it is called the Champagne method or the classic method. And as this method of sparkling wine production was invented in the Champagne area by a monk, but there will be probably a separate video in this respect to go a little bit back in history. But it is a wine style that was created in the Champagne area by a famous monk, and that's why it is called Champagne method. In this case here, the second fermentation took place in the bottle, and that, as mentioned, has some advantages. It is supposed to be a little bit better in terms of the bubble quality, and the production costs for a wine like this are considerably higher because there's a lot of manual work involved.
Can we see the cork for this one?
Yes. What was it? That's this one here. That was this one here. Yeah. Yeah, a few words to the producer. The producer is quite famous everywhere where you can buy and get hold of Australian wines. Jacobs Creek, based in the famous Barossa Valley, one of the top spots of the Australian wine production. a quite warm region in the south of Australia, but not really a hot region. It's quite a good area to produce all types of wines. It's famous for its soils, and this is done by quite the most famous grape varieties for the production of sparkling wines, because the two of them which are in there are also basic grape varieties for the production of champagne. So we have Chardonnay and Pinot Noir in there. By the way, I didn't mention this in this cuvées that we had so far. So these 3 bottles here, there are also wines, grape varieties which are producing red grapes, and that means we have here a mixture of white and red grapes. Why is there this wine not red? That has to do also with the way it is being produced. As soon as the grapes are harvested, they are being brought into the cellar, and then simply the winemaker is the one who is deciding to simply take the juice out of it without leaving it on the skins for a long time.
So the color is in the skin.
The color is in the skin, and mostly, and if you keep it a couple of hours, you have already color extracted into the basic wine. So this is done then like a white wine to keep the freshness. What is the expectation? To have just the fruity taste out of the Pinot Noir grape, and to combine this is why it is so classic, with the more acidic and more mineralic part of the Chardonnay. That's why this combination is absolutely classic also for the Champagne region. Yeah, the color is also slightly more deep than the first wine. It's still not golden, it's still pale yellow for me.
But it's very light, isn't it?
Yes, it is absolutely light, and this is also something that I'm honoring a lot, because this is a very warm region, and we have here a wine with just 11% of alcohol. So that is supposed to be the lightest wine in this tasting here. And here we have 11 to 13 here. This one is, I mean, it's out of competition anyway, but this was, up to 13.5. And the Uzbek wine here was also slightly higher in alcohol. No, it's the same level, also 11%. So this is a quite fairly light wine in alcohol, and that's something that has, of course, an advantage, because you can enjoy a little bit more in quantity if you like it.
Sure. It also means you're not going to make an idiot of yourself. You can drink this and be quite.
Yeah. And here, of course, we have here, and although this is not a top product here, it's still more entry level. It is already adding up the way it is being produced to the complexity of this wine.
But I want to say one thing. In my country, this wine is much cheaper. Yeah, and I think for the price point, this matches the level of the price it would be back home, and it's the type of drink we would have on our table every day, and we're very happy with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is of course, I guess, one of the disadvantages here for every wine coming to the country from outside. There are obviously fairly high taxes put on top, and that makes it in price quality ratio not that attractive. But of course, it is still a wine of a very good quality. So it is to compare all the 4 ones here is quite unfair because of the different production methods. So this wine is supposed to be higher anyway than the other 3 ones, because simply of the production costs, and of course also in terms of transportation.
Which is your favorite one then?
So
Still Salud?
for me, this one is out of competition with the other 3 ones because of the production method. But if I simply say I compare the 4 wines without considering anything, then this is my top one.
Me too. This is Christmas wine.
This is my top one. There's no doubt. But as mentioned, in an official tasting, you would never compare wines, sparkling wines made by a different method. This is not really.
It's like
Not
Rolls
really
Royce
fair.
and Matisse.
But what it shows here is that this higher workload behind producing a wine according to the traditional method, this is something that brings additional aromas here inside the wine, even if it was not stored that long. You have a little bit of this very famous so-called brioche notes. So if you know a brioche, this famous French bakery, a little bit of this style, and that comes from the autolysis. This is the fermentation process as such. This comes and this adds on all the fruity aromas that we have in there. It smells also a little bit of bruised apple. It has some peach in there, but it has also a little bit salty aromas there. This comes most likely from the Chardonnay, and there's some brioche in there as well. And this I can taste. This have afterwards on the palate as well. And what is also adding up here, the aftertaste is much longer. And this is something that you don't have with the other three wines, or with the other two wines that we tasted. The aftertaste is longer. It is absolutely longer.
If it wasn't for the fact that we had the other two wines, I wouldn't have noticed that longer aftertaste at all. But because we have something to compare it to, I can see it.
You can recognize it. You can recognize it. So, and it's still a fairly light wine, so something that you can really enjoy. So absolutely a recommendation if your pockets are a little bit deeper and there is more to spend, or let's say the reason of celebration is a very special one, and you can afford it. That this is definitely a wine that can be recommended here.
That is the safer wine. That's the one that you know will always reach a certain standard.
Safer wine, and although we have here by far not the highest cork quality, it is already, you can see it here, definitely a better one, because this is not just in the industrial cork. Part of it is, but you see here there is a layer of a full natural cork in there. This is why it is supposed to keep for a longer time and hold tight, because this here is natural, it's not pressed. And that's of course for sure from all the corks that we have seen.
I wanted to see them.
Here, the one of the highest quality. And there's a good reason for that. There is a good reason for that, because it's supposed to keep a little bit longer. But one goes for sure, big applause to Bagui Zagan here, because that's from all the other ones by far the best cork quality. The two Russians here are definitely in another league, especially this one, and we have seen the result.
And would you say you have to spend more money on the cork for the longer process?
That is definitely recommended, because at the very end, if you produce a wine for aging, then it would be really a bad mistake to save money on the cork quality, right?
You save the money on the cheaper process, not the corks.
You are simply investing a lot of money in the production, and then you try to save money in the cork quality. So it means
it's the wrong part.
This is more or less a counteraction. So this is something that you should never do, and therefore I guess responsible producers and reliable producers, and of course producers with a high reputation, they cannot afford things like this. So that's why they don't make any mistakes in this respect, and they don't save where they are not supposed to save.
Very educational. I've learned something today. Thank you.
Very welcome. I hope you liked our video here. As mentioned, sparkling wines are not that common here in Uzbekistan right now. The country and the continent where I'm from is much more on sparkling wines at the moment. I can tell you, Uzbekistan is a growing country, a very well developing country. You will have a lot of days where you want to celebrate in the future. So I strongly believe that sparkling wines will also become more important in the future here, also in Uzbekistan. And yeah, probably we'll be having the one or the other additional video in this respect because there's of course a lot more to say. And yeah, I hope we see each other again. Stay tuned with us. Give us a like if you liked it, and of course, please subscribe. You do us a big favor at this very starting point. Please subscribe to our channel. We are producing now a video each and every week, and yeah, for sure there will be the one or the other interesting part coming up in the near future. So thanks a lot. And if there is anything to comment, please don't forget, send us a comment. Thank you very much.